Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet added another thread to the already tangled Pokémon multiverse and showed us what really can happen if someone decides to play around with it. The obsession of Professor Sada, Professor Turo, and Briar created a cycle that brought strange, powerful Pokémon from different timelines. This not only showed us that it is possible to do so, but also showed us that there are very strange places out there that we have never seen and maybe never will. Or will we? So hey, I'm not so ace trainer, and Legends games might have a lot more possibilities than we thought. Let's get into it. Pokémon Legends Arceus showed us that things were really different back in the day, introducing us to what was basically a new region made out of one that we already knew very well. But it also did something that added a very interesting layer to the whole Pokémon multiverse thing. Not only we, the player, were sent back in time through Arceus' power, but we also saw Pokémon, items, and of course Ingo going through a similar experience, just not through the same means we did. The implications here are clear. Ingo left the place where he was, likely Unova, and most likely the battle subway since the guy seemed to practically live there, and ended up in history with only a faint memory of who he actually was. So, Unova had to be affected by something. This could have been simply the power of the space-time distortions as we mentioned, and it was basically the accepted theory during the Pokémon Legends Arceus cycle. But now we have more information that could offer us a different path. Pokémon Scarlet and Pokémon Violet have two different things that can explain what's happening with Ingo. Tera energy can connect timelines, it can bend time and space. You can be at one place and be sent to the other, or you can be at one time and be sent to another as well. And not only that, we know that this power was taken to the Unova region, since it was what basically powers up the Blueberry Academy through the Terrarium core. So, we can speculate that something might happen that transports Ingo to a different time and place. In fact, the Battle Subway map shows a bunch of stations, but we can only use it to go to Anvil Town or back to Nimbasa City. But that was back in the day, as we now know that one of the others likely leads to the Blueberry Academy, since this NPC right here confirms that we take the subway in order to get there. But it could also be a new one, considering that the Blueberry Academy is a new thing, so it might have only been built after our adventure in the Unova region. But while we can speculate all we want about where it actually is in the map, or what actual line we have to take to get there, one thing doesn't need any speculation. Ingo probably passed by that place a lot of times considering what he does for a living. This was just to create the idea that Tera energy might have played a role in bringing Ingo back to history. But what I actually meant by Legends having a lot of possibilities has something to do with what the professors and the AI did. And also has something to do with this comment I got from Beta that talks about wanting to meet the professors once more. Maybe we will. By connecting to different timelines, the professors showed us glimpses of different realities, with Paradox Pokémon being their reflection. While we know that they were focusing on the past and the future, they might easily just come from places where evolution took a different turn. Sure, the Pokédex entries and the occulture speculate a lot about them, but the truth is, we don't know anything about the place where they truly come from. And I think the best example are the Paradox Beasts and the Paradox Swords of Justice. The original versions of this Pokémon have a very specific story. We know their lore, and while there's some speculation about who the beasts were before Ho-Oh's revival, nothing tells us that those three were the first. Ho-Oh is just their Johto master. We know there are more beasts unrelated to Ho-Oh. But by knowing their story, we can speculate about the place those Paradox Pokémon come from. Take the Paradox Swords of Justice for example. They are clearly based on the actual Swords of Justice from Unova, the same that saved the Pokémon from the fire at the Moor of Osiris. Pokémon that distrusted humans because of the war that caused that calamity. But here, they are shown as actual weapons made of iron. And if you think about it, Pokémon being turned into weapons is a thing from Unova. Team Plasma revived Genesect out of an unknown fossil and turned it into a weapon. So, what if that reality, that timeline from where those Paradox Swords of Justice come from, is one where they did not succeed? They died in the fire that consumed the Moor of Osiris and were later revived by Team Plasma into what we know as Iron Crown, Iron Leaves, and Iron Boulder. Just right here, you have two possibilities, two different realities that could be explored in the Legends game. And when it comes to the Paradox Beasts, it's basically the same thing, just in a different way. Raikou, Entei, and Suicune, the Johto ones, were revived by Ho-Oh when fire destroyed the Brass Tower, and that is one of their legends. We also know that they are said to be born from erupting volcanoes and come down with lightning, so there are more out there and we've seen them before. But Paradox Pokemon are said to be ferocious and dangerous, so maybe, in that reality, those three versions of this Pokemon that we almost see as protectors in their original form actually caused it all. The lightning bolt being caused by Raging Bolt, the fire being caused by Gouging Fire, and the downpour caused by Walking Wake. This could show us a reality where Johto is very different, being terrorized by dinosaur-like beasts. In a way, it would be kinda Johto's traditional concept being taken to the extreme. Maybe here you have to find Ho-Oh and Lugia not to help the beasts, but to actually stop them. And on both these realities, we could find characters that actually moved from timeline to timeline. I mean, we still don't know what happened to the professors. They might have died, but there's no actual confirmation of this. But we do know that the AI professors entered the time machine, which is actually a timeline machine that was connected to whatever timeline the professors were investigating. So if we end up going there in a different kind of game, they could easily be the Ingo of that experience. The character that we already know but meets us in a very different kind of setting. And all because of that one single moment that changed it all. Them entering the time machine, them connecting to different timelines. All of this goes very well with the way the multiverse has been shown to us through the years. In Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, the timelines have one single moment that changed it all. The ultimate weapon being fired or not. That changed how the world evolved. In the Ultra Space, we find a world where the existence of Guzzlord made Alola a completely different place. And maybe the only difference was just that the Pokemon that came from the Ultra Wormholes back in the day weren't just Solgaleo or Lunala, but a lot of Ultra Beasts, and so the Tapus couldn't beat them. Or the Guardian Deities simply did not exist in that timeline. Another awesome example is how every member of Team Rainbow Rocket comes from a world where they succeeded. Every single one of them represents a different timeline where only one thing truly changed. They could not be defeated. That's the reason why I always love the introduction of multiverse and the doubling down on it. Pokemon has almost 30 years of existence, and if they never pulled that trigger, well, remakes would be very different from what they were and much less exciting. And with all the infinite possibilities, all the little things that can change, well, the hype cycle is always there. We're always hyped for a new game. We could see a world where Groudon or Kyogre won, a post-apocalyptic version of Hoenn. We could see a world where Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem never separated, and if the tale is correct, we would have an incredibly powerful dragon. Or a place where Volo or Cyrus actually won and they rewrote the universe. Of course, they won't be doing this for every single remake or Legends or whatever, but just the possibility of being able to change a little thing and build a completely different world is fantastic, and I really hope to see them take some chances. And that is all I have for you today. I really enjoyed the idea of the multiverse, and I really hope they explore it with all kinds of crazy things, as it can work very well. But what about you? What would you like to see in a different timeline? Let me know in the comments down below. And now, like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more Pokemon content, and also ring the bell so you know when the next video is out. And also check out my merch or consider becoming a channel member in order to support me even further. I'll be forever thankful for that. You can also follow me on social media or check out one of my streams here and on Twitch. All the links are in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.